Oh no's, hellos, and welcome back to another videos. And today we'll be doing the Urza saga. So we're gonna be doing the whole Urza's block. It's gonna be, I guess, in parts. I'll try to do like basically a recording of this in the actual recording, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that. Actually, I've kind of changed plans, so I might just upload these like probably try to do them like one every day until we're done with the whole Urza's block, because this one was really hard to rank because there was just so many powerful cards. This was the most broken set of all of Magic, is the Urza's block, and people are gonna like these type of lists because they're just really powerful cards. So I actually want to get through this quickly. So we're gonna go straight into the list because we want to move on quickly, of course. Because at number 10, we have, you guys all guessed it, Exhume. You probably didn't all guess it. But most of these cards you guys are going to hear about, and all of them are pretty much broken. All of them are. This is like the only set and block that has had basically bans of all these cards. But let's just read the card first. So it's 1 and a black for a sorcery, and each player chooses a creature card in his or her graveyard and puts that creature into play. Now, the trick with this deck is that Reanimator decks always have the advantage because they usually have bigger creatures, of course, and they know how to put them in the graveyard. So Exhume was a really broken card in Reanimator decks, and it still sees play today in Reanimator. And guess what it reanimates? You guessed it, Griselbrand. Because why the heck not? Exhume was so broken that I think it was banned in Pauper because this was made Pauper legal for some reason. Because of this, yeah. Urza's Saga didn't care about the rarity at all. Because look, it's common, so you could play it in Pauper. So it was banned in Pauper because it was way too powerful. I think it was also preemptively banned, so I'm not sure if it's on the ban list, but I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know, I'll have to double check. But yeah, Exhume was just really broken because it could just make Reanimator decks way too the hell powerful. And speaking of Pauper, let's move on to number 9. And at number 9 we have Peregrine Drake. And we're going to actually look at the artwork, the modern artwork of this card, besides the Urza's artwork, because in Urza Saga it was actually at Uncommon. But in, I think it was a Master set, they made it common. And there was a big mistake with that, because for 4 blue and a Draco boy that was flying, and when Peregrine Drake enters the battlefield, untap up to 5 lands. Here's the problem with that in Pauper. In Pauper, you can gain advantage off of this with your mana rocks. They didn't really have a lot of mana rocks, but they had ways to kind of like color fix. And this was a great card for that because it can help you power out a Peregrine Drake and other creatures, because the other creatures usually had downsides. This creature, however, did not. In fact, it had a huge upside because it could tempo out games if this card was not countered. And they didn't really run a lot of counters. They mostly run Scred as their way to like remove creatures or bounce effects. But other than that, Peregrine Drake was just an upside card, and it was really broken, and it had to be banned in Pauper because it was just way too good at tempoing out blue decks. And yeah, that's why it earned number 9 on this list. And it honestly doesn't see play anymore. But it does see play in commander decks that are using the combo with Deadeye Navigator. Haha, because that's not broken. And yeah, let's move on to number 8. And we're going to move off the Pauper stuff. And we're going to move back to basics, because that's literally card back to basics. Number 8. So it's a 2 blue and enchantment for this card that has some weird artwork, but we'll explain it. And non-basic lands do not tap during their controller's untap steps. It says phases, but it says it's supposed to be steps. I guess phases make sense in that case. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, back to basics. So why did I put this at number 8? Well, I put it on for its effect, mostly. I could have put it on because of its performance, but I put it on for its effect. Its effect is really good. It's kind of similar to Blood Moon, but it's Blue's version of it by saying it's going to basically, I don't even know, like choke all the lands basically. But it's just non-basic lands, which is majority of modern. So this sees play in sideboards of modern decks if they want to choke out people using non-basic lands, like Tron. Either that or like, human decks too. That also works. Spirits. Other decks like that. Back to Basics was perfect for that. And if you're playing a mono blue deck, oh boy, is this good. And yeah, it's just a staple in like a lot of like sideboards and even in main deck play in Commander. Even sees play in competitive EDH, which is competitive EDH. But yeah, back to basics. Basically, that's what the card means. You're going back to the basics, the basic lands. Only makes sense. So yeah, we're going to move on to a broken card that is a land, and it's non-basic, and that is number 7, Gaia's Cradle. Probably one of the most powerful lands of all Magic. Gaia's Cradle is so powerful it sees still main deck play in Elves decks because of what the effect is. Now what it is just, it's a legendary land and you tap it, add green to your mana pool, and I finish the sentence, for each creature you control. Holy crap. Like, you just buffed this thing, it was like going to be a legendary force. So it's like, oh my gosh, let's make a legendary force, guys. It's called Gaia's Cradle, and it says add green to your mana pool. It's like, well, that's not good enough. Let's add something more to it. How about for each creature you control? Okay, we'll give it a shot. And they did, and it was totally bonkers. Because basically, it's just like, sure, it can tap for 0 if you have no creatures, but come on, man. You could tap this for green, and you get all the manas in the worlds. And it was really broken in Elves decks. And Elves decks still use this in Vintage because it can tempo out a lot of mana. It's also played in Legacy Elves as well, of course. Gaia's Cradle was so inspiring that there was a card made in its place. I think, what was it called? Get the mock Cradle of the Sun. I don't even freaking know. But yeah, that card on the screen. So I also put it on this list for inspiring just to make another card kind of similar to this. Except it's way better. It's just harder to get to. But yeah, let's move on to this broken piece of crap to number 6. And I'm sorry if I'm going way too fast, but come on. Like, I really want to finish all of these blocks, and I want to get them all over with. So let's just hurry up quickly. But yeah, Windfall, number 6. So what does Windfall do? It's 2 blue and a sorcery for each player discards his or her hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number a player discarded this way. So how is this broken, you might ask? Well, it's basically Wheel of Fortune, but a little bit better, some people could say. But yeah, Windfall is really, really good because it helped basically had Combo Winter. And the rest of the cards that we're going to be talking about are part of the Combo Winter. This is just one of the weaker ones. Because Windfall is just so broken. And the Combo Winter type of decks, they use basically High Tide and a bunch of mana. But yeah, Windfall was the icing on the cake, though. It helped get to your combo pieces and stuff. It helped you drop out your Lotus Petals or whatever. Helped do all of that stuff. And it also refilled all your Power 9 stuff. And that's why this card, I think, is restricted. Because I'm pretty sure Wheel of Fortune is restricted. But I could be wrong. But yeah, Windfall is just a really powerful card because of what it does. It's basically just a refiller for all of your stuff. And for 2 blue. And that's why they stopped really printing Wheel Effects. They print it more expensive because Wheel Effects were really, really powerful. And the reason it's called Wheel Effects is because people resort to Wheel of Fortune. That's why. Not that Wheel of Fortune, the other Wheel of Fortune card. Power 9. And yeah, Windfall was really powerful in a combo deck too. Which we'll be discussing right now because the next part of the combo, number 5, is Stroke of Genius. So you may be asking yourself, wow, all these cards are about drawing. I wonder why these are broken. Well, we'll show you. Because for X2 and a blue, an instant, target player draws X cards. You want to use this on yourself, right? Wrong. You want to use it against your opponent because it says target player. Not you, target player. So what High Tide decks would do is either use Windfall or Stroke of Genius to draw the player out of their library. Windfall is kind of just to get to the combo piece like High Tide. They would also use other cards that we'll be getting to in the Urza's block. But yeah, Stroke of Genius kind of made the combo what it is. It's the finisher, basically. Stroke of Genius is why people played the combo winter decks. It's because of this card. Because what you could do is you could basically mill your opponent out. Simple as that. That's literally the combo. I know it's boring, but that's what they did. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this card. That's the history of this card. It's still a pretty powerful card. I mean, come on. You could do this at instant speed and draw X cards. Holy crap, and there's no double blue. It's like way better than Pull from Tomorrow. So yeah, this dude, like Urza's like, oh, holy crap. I just thought of something. Let's make this card. He probably didn't think of it. That was Wizards' fault. Thanks, Wizards. But at number 4, we're going to get onto the engine of this combo deck, the High Tide Stroke of Genius combo deck. Because at number 4, this is pretty much what started it all as a massacre. Time Spiral. Now, this was the engine. This was basically the power card right here. This was what made the deck so good and so consistent. Because Time Spiral, 4 blue and a blue for a sorcery, remove Time Spiral from the game. Okay, I don't know why that's on resolution, but sure. Each player shuffles his or her graveyard and hand into his or her library and then draws 7 cards. You untap up to 6 lands. So wait, are you telling me this is a free wheel? Why would you do that? It exiles itself, sure, but why would you add that? Now let's think about what I meant about High Tide. What can you do with High Tide and Time Spiral? That's right, get more mana that you had. So what people would do in Combo Winter and Urza's block is use Time Spiral and High Tide to get the advantage off of Time Spiral, untapping up to 6 lands. Basically, you could tap your lands in response to this resolving. So basically, you would tap 3 lands to pay for the cost. Then you could tap the rest of your lands, like the 3 other lands, to untap your islands. So you tap the mana in response, you get extra mana back. So it basically paid you back. And it was free and +3 on resolution. Now you could see why they banned this card. Well, they didn't ban this card. They banned Stroke of Genius, they banned freaking Windfall, they banned all those because they were too good and made the deck too consistent. And Time Spiral and High Tide were like best buds, man. They were best buds. Of course it was blue too. It was blue. It had to be blue. Of course. And I also put this card on the list only because of the effect and the cool ass artwork. Because if you haven't seen Star Wars, you definitely haven't seen this artwork. That didn't make any sense, but it just did. Okay, it just basically looks like a bunch of moons crashing into some kind of planet with electricity on it. Freaking Duracell's gotta fix their planet. Okay, I should stop talking now. Let's move on to the next card. And number 3, which is Sneak Attack! I snuck on you. You see that? I scared you a little bit. Yeah, so number 3 is Sneak Attack. Oh, I definitely scared you there. So 3 red and an enchantment for any pay a red. You may put a creature. You may. Wait, why does it say you may? So you don't need to? You're like, I pay red. Okay, I don't want to. I don't need to put a creature up. I really don't. So you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So why is this card at number 3? It has such a bound downside. No, it doesn't. If you have played Magic before, you know that's not a downside. Because for 1 red mana, you could put out any creature. So why is this card so powerful, you might ask? Well, it's played in decks called Sneak and Show, which we'll be talking about the other card later. We'll get to that. But yeah, Sneak Attack was really powerful because it can cheat out basically Eldrazi too into play. And of course you had to sacrifice it, but that wasn't a really big downside if you got Annihilator 6. So you basically paid 1 red mana to Annihilator 6 someone's board. Now that is pretty devastating, and you get damage through. That's pretty broken, not gonna lie. And people would cheat other things into play like Gristlebrand or like anything like an Archon of I don't even know they play. They play so many Archons too. Like that's crazy. But yeah, Sneak Attack was played in Sneak and Show decks, and it's still played to this day in those decks. Now, for granted, people do this in Commander as well. And what they'll cheat into play is Blightsteel Colossus, because that's better, right? That is so much better, because you can just kill them turn 1 if they don't have a creature. So you better have a creature when this is in play. Let me tell you, I've been blown out by Blightsteel Colossus in Commander lots. So make sure when you see this card, you're like, you better hate that opponent right there, right then and there, because that opponent's about to kick your ass. And yeah, that's why this card is so broken, and that's why it's number 3. And we're going to show you number 2, and we'll get on to what the Sneak and the Show is. But first, let's hit on to number 2, which is Yawgmoth's Will. Kind of one of my all-time favorite Magic art cards. Like, the artwork on this card is like really weird. I love it though. Like it reminds me of like it's like kind of like not Punisher, like Hellraiser, or like freaking. It reminds me so much of that, but it's like in its own way. It's hard to explain the complexities of how I explain art. But let's not get into that. Let's get into the actual card. So Yawgmoth's Will is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Until end of turn, you may. Again with the you may. How about you must? You must do this. If you don't, oh well, you lose the game. So you must play cards in your graveyard as though they were in your hand. Well, I guess that should be you may, because you don't need to, but you probably want to for this effect. Ah, but there's a catch. Cards put into your graveyard this turn are removed from the game instead. So yeah, any card that was in your graveyard and you're gonna play again, like let's say a Lotus Petal, it's going to be exiled. But that's not really a downside, because people use this in vintage test decks, the Epic Storm. So this is played in test decks in Yawgmoth's Will Storm decks. What they would do is they would play Yawgmoth's Will with a bunch of 0 mana artifacts, like Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal, to storm off for the win. And they would use Yawgmoth's Will to get more advantage on casting their cards because they can cast them from their graveyard. They can use Cabal Ritual, Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, and then finally a Storm card, whether it be Grape Shot or Tendrils of Agony. And yeah, Yawgmoth's Will is so broken, and I think it's, well, I don't know if it's restricted in Vintage. Pretty sure it should be. But yeah, it's just a broken card. Like, it's just crazy broken, and it's played in Storm decks. And you didn't think Storm would get worse. I mean, the equivalent to this in Modern is Past in Flames. So if you think Past in Flames is broken, you haven't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen this card, because this card, wow. If you saw this, you'd be frightened. Like, if you saw this guy, you'd just be like, rave, like, okay, I'll give you all the Lotus Petals, man. Just calm down. Just go away. Just go away. I don't want to see you. And that's what exactly we're going to do. We're not going to see him, because if we're going to see number 1, which is Show and Tell. Yes, show the class what you brought. And you brought this card, because let's read what the card says. 2 blue and a sorcery for each player may. God, again with the May. How about June or July? I mean, those are pretty good months, right? May. Okay, each player may choose an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card. And who the hell would put a land card? How would you even bring that to class? I mean, Why would you even put that on a card? A land card, really? Okay, whatever. Land card into his or her hand and put that permanent into play. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, both of us get an advantage. Not quite. Not quite. You see, there's a deck called Omni-Tell. Omni-Tell decks cheat out Omniscience into play, and this I think is in Legacy. This uses Show and Tell and Omniscience to basically cast pretty much every spell in your deck and get creatures out of the benefit. They'll probably usually draw cards and try to draw into a win con, but mostly it's the combo of Show and Tell and Omniscience. People stop you saying, okay, let's put a creature out. Too slow. Omniscience, it's instantaneous. You get all the advantage if you have those cards in your hand. Just keep drawing and draw to your win con. Broken, right? This is also played in Sneak and Show. And let's talk about this combo. You know, if you don't have your sneak attack, what's better than sneak attack? Show and Tell. Holy crap. So people would play Show and Tell decks to cheat out basically creatures into play if they didn't have their sneak attack. Because this was another assurance policy if they didn't have their sneak attack was Show and Tell. Problem with Show and Tell is that your player gets to put out a creature, but no problem. I mean, you could just cheat out, like, if they're trying to be all cheeky about it, I mean, I guess you can get Containment Priest and say, nope, that could be a sideboard card against Show and Tell. The problem is that this effect is simultaneous. Now, I don't know exactly how the rules work with this, so if you put a Containment Priest at the same time as this resolves, I do not believe that the effect would go off when Containment Priest static effect goes off. Because I think the card would still go in play. I'm not too sure though, but it might. But you could play Containment Priest in response to this card. And just shut him down. Be like, you want to cheat something in play? Okay. No, you can't. Boom, it gets exiled. Funny, right? But yeah, I don't know how the rules work exactly. I'll have to search it up. But anyways, that's going to do it for Urza's Saga. Holy crap. And if you thought Urza's Saga was broken, wait till we get on to the next one, man. Urza's Legacy is going to be a whole new ball game. And yeah, it is really going to be a whole new ball game because we have a lot of broken cards to talk about in that one too. So hopefully you got your hammer because we're about to break some windows. Okay, that wasn't really a good analogy, but close enough. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream or whatever. Bye, and peace.